Around half a year ago, I was banned for receiving duped coins as contraband, and when I was finally unbanned, I couldn't use any armor sets or weapons from dungeons because I simply did not meet the requirements. And during this time, I was wondering if I should even grind dungeons at this point because I don't really need to progress in the game to make this style of content. But then I may have accidentally found a way to drop a handle in under 24 hours. And now when I mean 24 hours, I mean when you click that new profile button and finally getting a handle. I'm simply not talking about just grinding for 24 hours straight. You actually need to unlock the catacombs for that. This means that you'll start with nothing and you'll have to grind your way through floor 7, meaning that you have to reach combat 15 and kata 24, which is almost 500,000 kata experience. And you have to do that in a 24-hour span, and that's not even including anything like eating or sleeping. And I know I'm talking about a handle, but is it even possible to beat Necron in 24 hours? Because I feel like I'm giving myself way too much luck and time in this scenario. Anyways, for this video, I tested to see if you could beat Necron in this time frame, and I'll use the data and see if dropping a handle would be possible and the percentage of you actually dropping a handle on said profile. And I will have to say that this video mostly is a hypothetical and testing video, but I will also include steps just in case if you want to do it. And the first step in getting a handle, conveniently, is the shortest step, and that's pressing the subscribe button. Nah, I'm just kidding, unless if you want to. Anyways, it's actually the longest step, and that's beating Necron, and conveniently that's also the shortest step, so you know, it kind of balances out. For me to know the answer on this one, I actually need to test out to see if beating Necron is possible in under 24 hours. So that means that the next good portion of the video is actually me just testing this out. I will go over everything just in case if you want to do this, but I started it on 12:12 p.m. PST on February 27th. And on each clip you should see a little like timer. I think it's literally just the one on my monitor used for Windows. Still though, it kind of gives you a sense of time during this. I guess I'm just too lazy to put like an actual timer there, so I just used OBS. Anyways, I created a few rules just to keep it consistent. If you're starting this on a new profile, you get one free cookie, because normally you would get one on a new account, but you can't get an extra cookie on a new profile. And the cookie is literally so vital for this that I don't think you could do this without a cookie. And obviously getting carried in dungeons is fine, and there's also no contraband. With the only kind of exception is borrowing money just in case if you get a drop, which is something I will end up forgetting later on. But also any floor loot you keep, including any floor loot that any of your teammates find, you get to keep, meaning that, you know, you could just sell a bunch of roses if you wanted to. Anyways, now we could continue on with the test, and I am severely unprepared. Now, I made the bridge to the hub to try and unlock the bazaar, and my plan was farming first because it was fast and you could get money to buy a jungle axe. And while the auctions are going up for a jungle axe, you could just mine and then you could do foraging, but of course that doesn't happen. Because for some goddamn reason, jungle axes are now more expensive than I would have thought. So I ditched the idea, and instead of mining coal or iron, I just went to mine sand. Now, I know in this one clip, I'm mining it pretty slow, but this one little technique will help me so much more later on. Anyways, foraging only took a few minutes, and it was going well because I started to NPC flip, and I was going to get my first big purchase. Remember about the booster cookie rule and how you get one free booster cookie? Normally you're supposed to get at the beginning of the run, but since you know you can't really trade booster cookies anymore, I set it up so that someone else would just give me enough money to buy a booster cookie instead. And finally, we could get our booster cookie. And the reason why a booster cookie is so vital to this run is that it gives us a bunch of money early on, and also it gives us 20% more XP, which is going to be literally vital for some of the later areas of this challenge. Or I guess it's not really a challenge, it's actually a test, but who cares. Anyways, while I waited to get bits, I just killed some hub zombies with a short bow, and I got some snowsuit armor. I thought snowsuit armor was like the cheapest epic armor that you could get with no requirements, but soon I'll learn that there are other, better options. Skeleton Master. Thank you, 30 virus. And after like an hour of grinding, I finally had enough bits to buy a cat flower, which is conveniently the same amount of bits to buy an aspect at the end, which is probably going to be the most important purchase of this run, considering that we could both run away from people in dungeons using this, and also this could help me get combat. But sadly, there was one thing that I didn't really pay attention to. It's that I was very weak. So weak, in fact, that most of the time when I tried to kill crypt ghouls underground, most of my time was actually me respawning. I wish I was kidding. Most of the time was just me teleporting back to the crypts and me dying like in a minute. Anyways, the person VC at the time said that I should try to kill ice walkers. Apparently they give out more combat XP and they're way less dangerous to kill, so that was a plan, I guess. The only bad thing is that I would need mining 12, and this is where the sand comes in. For like a solid 20 minutes, I was just mining normal diamonds, but then I realized that I could literally get so much more XP with just an efficiency 5 golden shovel. Because you could literally make thousands of mining XP per minute just from mining sand. And when I finally went to the Dwarven Mines, I realized how bad this was for combat XP. I was still getting bodied by the ice people, and it would take a really long time to go back and respawn. And that's not even including the random people out there who are also trying to get combat XP. And this was fairly bad because I wasted 30 minutes for practically nothing. The only good thing to come out of this is that I got more bits, which I got for better armor. I finally got full Skeleton Master, and I reforged it to get full crit chance. And finally, I could kill the crypt ghouls without them killing me in like a few hits. And from there, I was finally on a steady track to finally get combat XP. And after around 4 hours of this goddamn test, I finally had enough experience for dungeons. Now, normally for most people this would be good, but it was not very good. Before I even debated doing this test, I just did a bunch of research seeing if this was actually possible. And for my predictions to actually make this possible, I would need to have got combat 15 in like 2 hours. And I got it in 4 hours. Meaning that I made a mistake in my research, meaning that I could have messed up the math, meaning that I probably can't beat Necron in 24 hours. But at this point I was too invested, so I still continued and carried on. I had like a rotation of people carrying me, and there's way too many names to list, so I'll just put them in the description, and if I don't put you in there, I'll just message me and I'll put you in there. But the main one that helped me was Skull Hub, so thank you for that. Anyways, we flew through the first couple of floors with only like one entrance run, a few Bonza runs, and one Scarf run. And within around like 30 minutes, we've already been to like floor 4.
It's just toast, but like smushed.
It's bread pudding, like, it's not bad.
Yeah, but cereal still solos. Which would be our first semi-roadblock. The thing about floor 4 is that it's extremely hard for one person to carry me. Which one person was carrying me. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that it was really hard, but I got backup. I got Monkey Man Ari and a few other friends just to help me, and we did floor 4.
Well, they're gonna die.
I'll place a bar barrel to get rid of that.
I can play dungeons while playing Clash Royale.
Oh crap! And at the time, I had high hopes because we were around 2 hours in, and we were already on like the 5th dungeon. And on my first 4-5 run, I got like 5k XP in 3 minutes. Meaning that if I did 100 runs, I would have around 500,000 XP in 5 hours. But it would not stay like that forever. Unknowns to me, you get an XP boost on the first 5 runs per day. Meaning that instead of 5k XP, I got way less and less. And also the people who were carrying me were also leaving because they were in different time zones and had to go to sleep. I had to deal with less XP and longer runs. And we needed around 100k XP to even start floor 6. And this was taking a while, and to make matters worse, I dropped a Shadow Assassin chestplate. Oh my god, I got a chestplate. I can't even get it. I don't have enough money. Is there any way to get money? I don't think so. And at the time, I forgot about the money rule. Meaning I lost a chance for like a free 20 mil. And that 20 mil would have helped me a lot because the thing about dungeons is that I can't kill anything. And everything kills me in a couple of hits. Because right now, I'm basically just sitting in the entrance room and getting my milestones. It's practically 4 people speedrunning dungeons with me just in the side. And to make matters even worse, it's been around 7 hours. And this is 7 hours straight with no food or basically anything. I had stocked up on drinks, but for some odd reason I just forgot to get food. I don't really like grinding for a long time, nor do I do it very often, but it was finally getting to me. Anyways, at 9 PM, a whole 9 hours after the test finally started, I unlocked floor 6. This was good and also worrying. People were joining and leaving, and we had to resort to Party Finder sometimes, but there was also the fact that we're almost halfway through the challenge, or test, and we've only got 1/5 of the XP needed for floor 7. This final stretch was literally going to be hell, and with everyone leaving and joining, it became a longer grind. But it wasn't too bad. I still got a decent amount of XP, but after a few runs, the XP decreased with the rule I mentioned earlier. And I don't think I mentioned this in the video, but it's kind of common knowledge, but in order to get full XP, you need to get milestone 3. And if you're a healer, it's usually the easiest because you could just heal party members at a trap room. But this is also hard because you get one-tapped by everything. And you also have to sacrifice a teammate for like 30 seconds, which isn't bad unless if 1 or 2 people are carrying you at that time, which was also happening to me. Anyways, it became so slow that around 1 PM I went to bed. Not because I was tired, but simply no one was online. When I went to bed, I was a high level 20 out of 24, meaning I would still need to grind around 300k XP. I had set an alarm for 4:30, meaning I got a solid 4 hours of sleep, because unlike most Skyblock sweats, I actually took a shower. Anyways, when I finally woke up, I had a mini heart attack because people still weren't online. I messaged a ton of people, and while I waited, I got presents for like a cool 100k. Now, I was fine with money, and I even had enough to afford a fell sword, but it wasn't really until early 5 AM until I could actually get runs. But thankfully this time I had a whole party, and this is where it got to me. In the recordings, you can actually hear music in my live commentary, but instead of me speaking, it was just utter silence. The lack of sleep was killing me and getting the worst of me, and I was more tired right now than when I woke up or even before I went to bed. And at around 7 AM, Coal Hub was finally online, and I was still tired, but at least our runs would be faster for helping us. In case you didn't know, Coal Hub basically carries me most of the time, and I did the math with her, and she's the highest CAD level person I know who's willing to help me. Now, instead of 6-minute runs for 6000 XP, we got 4-minute runs for like 8000 XP. And I didn't mention this, but in dungeons, the more you did a dungeon, the more XP you got. And with floor 5, it was basically impossible to see a difference, but for floor 6, it was finally showing. And with me, I got an average 100 extra XP every run, and it would continue to stack up and was very noticeable. After a few more runs, my teammate gave me roses, and I sold the Flower of Truth, and I had enough money for Necromancer pants and boots. Meaning that I would still die, but I wouldn't have to worry about dying as much as I normally would. You see, you had to be tanky for terracottas, and there was a half chance of me dying. But with this new armor, I could survive terracottas basically the entire time. Meaning that in turn, since we got no deaths, I'd also get more XP, and things were finally starting to become faster. But I still didn't do any damage. Can't handle the fate of a 1v1. Oh my god, they beat him! I had like 1000 XP left, and we did one more floor 5. And finally, after beating it, we could finally challenge Necron. And it was 10:30 in the morning, meaning that I would have around an hour and 40 minutes to beat him. Now, for this, instead of being healer, I went tank, because with healer, I would self-revive every 30 seconds. Or I think actually it's 50. Anyways, the whole entire point is that I would be reviving myself during the boss fight, and I'd probably die instantly. And in order to even drop a handle, you need to get an S+. And to get an S+, you need to have like 2 deaths or less. Meaning that instead of going healer, I had to go tank, just so I wouldn't self-revive myself and die instantly. Anyways, after a long grind, I finally got tank milestone 3. And after 22 hours, I finally beat Necron. We got 40k XP and we beat it in around 13 minutes. Anyways, if you ignore the fact that one of our teammates died and we didn't get an S+, we did it pretty well. Anyways, if you do want to do this for some goddamn reason, here is how. Get a booster cookie, then shuffle up sands, and just farm and just get the Bazaar. Bazaar flip and kill zombies until you can get Skeleton Master. Reforge just for a bunch of crit chance. Kill everything in sight until you actually get a good enough level to enter dungeons. get carried in dungeons. Make sure to get a loan of some money just in case if you get a rare drop. Also, make sure you time this so that you do it during Paul, because you're actually able to like save around like 20% of your total run times. And anyways, after doing that, you should actually have a decent amount of time to do 4-7. I did only one 4-7 run and I had like 1 hour and 40 minutes left on the clock. But if you actually prepared for this, unlike me, you could actually shave down a bunch of time. I'll leave all the statistics and stuff in the description, but you could basically do around like 10 hours of just straight up floor 7. Most of it is just that if you did it during Barry, you could shave off a lot of time, and also if you don't sleep. And from this information, you could actually get a handle 20% of the time if you do this method. That is like in total of all the runs. It's not like 20% each time, it's just in total. Anyways, Hypixel had this update and just ruined all of that. They made it so that the boss is longer, but there's also an increased percent on a handle. But it's kind of bad because that 20% chance now moved to a roughly 10 to 15% chance. But since I know that most of you guys won't do this, it should be possible to do this within a week. And that's with including sleep and stuff. Anyways, that is it. That's how I figured out how to drop a handle in under 24 hours. In conclusion, you just need a bunch of luck and know a bunch of people. Of course, you don't have to follow this exactly, but yeah, this wasn't really a tutorial per se. I was just interested on the question. Anyways, let me just like look up people's reaction to a handle. Oh wait, I actually didn't account for this.